Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the recap post SummerSlam edition. Michael D'Angelo, joined as always by my partner in crime, Mr. Big D, Daryl Ortiz. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. I'm very, very excited to talk about this Raw and SmackDown after SummerSlam. We had a great SummerSlam. That was a lot of fun. SummerSlam was great, and we had a lot of fun. Thank you again, Gus, and his team out there at Old Sheepdog Brewery. Be first of many, I'm sure, is definitely great to work with, and his team was awesome. Beer was great, so we all had a great time. So
agreed. Thank you again, Gus, and Old Sheepdog Brewery. Great place, wonderful ambiance. So we loved it. And then SummerSlam now in the rearview mirror. Monday Night Raw. There was lots of happenings on SummerSlam.
There was. Well, now they're setting
excited about the lead-in.
Yeah, now they're setting up for Bash in Berlin, which is a few weeks away. So that's going to be very fun to see. First thing we had come out was the return of Ludwig Kaiser to, of course, introduce his buddy, his BFF in real life. They're actually really good friends in real life. Cool story behind them. Introducing Gunther, your new WWE champion there. And, of course, he talks about how he just ran down Damian Priest and how he's going to bring prestige. His typical shtick. But nice surprise, we had Randy Orton come out to challenge him because, again, I guess you can call it long-term storytelling. And he said his shoulders weren't really pinned at King of the Ring, and he let it slide because he understands he's been in the business long enough to understand that ref's decision's final, but that even Triple H admitted that his shoulders were down. So, of course, knowing that Gunther's going to take the bait, he made the match official. So you're going to have Randy Orton against Gunther at Bash in Berlin, which is going to be an amazing match. Yeah. Gunther's not dropping it. I'm certain of that, but it's going to be a great match. Him and Randy Orton, I'm looking forward to it. But it was a pretty fun opening segment to open. It was a nice surprise because Randy Orton's usually on SmackDown. So.
Yeah, a good segment. I will say this though: as soon as his music hit, I was like, really? Like we're kicking this off with a SmackDown guy on Raw, and we're putting him up for the world title when you're supposed to have the brand separation. Right. I get it. I understand the storytelling, but I'm like, there's nobody else on Monday Night Raw who's worthy of challenging for the World Heavyweight Championship. So I was scratching my head. It'll be great. Randy Orton's awesome. He's obviously going to lose. Gunther's not going to turn around and lose the title in 3 weeks, unless that's going to be the biggest shocker ever. He's had these 2 very long title reigns, and then he immediately drops the title. I don't think that's going to happen, but I guess they got to have something for him to do, and they want to keep Randy Orton busy in a high-profile match. So
well, that too, and not just that. You still have Drew, CM Punk, and Seth, the 3 that would compete for that title. You still have them occupied in their own little deal, which we'll get to later. But then after that, we had Sheamus versus Ludwig Kaiser, which was a good match. He made Ludwig Kaiser return, like I said. It was a very hard-hitting match. It was back and forth, and Pete Dunne even tried to come back and hit with the Shillelagh again, but Sheamus was able to overcome and take the victory over Ludwig Kaiser, which was a good win for Sheamus. I like that. They didn't let the outside interference distract the result of the match. So I really enjoyed the match. It was fun. It was good. It was good because you had 2 hard-hitting guys and they're good.
Yeah, it was a good match and made better by the fact that it happened during the commercial-free first hour.
Yes.
So there was no commercial breaks messing with it. Yeah. So, gosh, this is what I was hoping for with the move to Netflix, where I was like, oh, no commercials. There will be commercials on Netflix.
Yeah, there will.
But this one was really good. There was a moment, though, that I didn't like where Kaiser told the ref he needed to stop due to medical reasons, and the ref was like, "Are we going to?" And the ref almost called a timeout, and then he was like, "He did it as an ambush." And I'm like, "Yeah, why wouldn't the ref just? If he said I can't continue, the ref would have just waved it off and stopped the match." So that was kind of dumb. Sheamus looks great. All the Burger King jokes are gone. Like he looks really fit.
Which good. We said just give him a few months. Like it takes time. Let him get himself going, and he did. So he looks great.
Yeah. So he did good. Good match.
Yeah. After that, Damian Priest came out, of course, to talk about the elephant in the room with Finn Balor, and Judgment Day turning on him. He started off by saying he came up with nobody and having to fend for himself until he had the Judgment Day. Then, of course, Finn Balor comes up on the screen, which I like because we don't want to see that confrontation just yet. You got to let that build a little bit more. And so Finn Balor comes out looking mean as hell, and he talks about how, when the Judgment Day started, you brought it upon yourself. We were supposed to be one team, no leaders, which is true because they would always argue that. And he said, you brought it upon yourself. As soon as you won that title, all of a sudden now you want to be in charge of everybody and you don't need anybody. And so it was kind of cool because he was kind of telling him the truth. And of course, Damian Priest was not liking it and started mouthing back. But then Finn Balor said, you know, I have my family or my team or whatever. And you pan out and there's Carlito, there's JD McDonough, there's Dom, and there's Liv, the new Judgment Day. So it looks like they're just going to take over the moniker Judgment Day. They're not going to create a new faction. So essentially, I guess then Damian Priest and Rhea, are kicked off Judgment Day, so they're back to being their own. I think later on in the show they dubbed them as the Twins of Terror, or the Terror Twin. Terror is what they're going to call them, because that's what they originally called them when Edge created Judgment Day before they actually had a name. So that was a cool little callback. But yeah, so that's going to happen, right? Damian Priest, Finn Balor eventually will happen. Damian Priest is fuming, rightfully so. So it'll be interesting how this goes. But it was a good segment.
It was a good segment. This was a really good promo from Finn, and it felt threatening, and it felt sinister, and it didn't feel. Judgment Day has been kind of like too goofball and tongue in cheek, and a lot of stuff with JD McDonough for a long time. So this really felt like, hey, they're an actual threat, and Finn's not wrong here. Like everything that he said, he's absolutely right. DP was kind of bullying everybody around. And you guys need me more than I need you, so he shouldn't be surprised by this. And this, for me, kind of vaults Finn forward again into that main event picture, because he's been there before, has been relegated down to other roles. So I'm loving this rivalry with him and Damian Priest. Obviously, this will continue on probably to Bad Blood, and they're going to keep moving that forward. Right. So this is a lot of fun. Yeah, Judgment Day new lineup. It's just they added Liv Morgan and kicked out two people that we knew were going to get kicked out. So it makes sense.
It does. I mean, no point in trying to create a whole new faction. You know, just have them take it over. So. That's all good.
Yeah.
After that, we had Lyra Valkyria versus Shayna Baszler. She ended up winning by disqualification because, of course, she did. These matches, I don't think they know who to put who against, because you ended up having Sonya Deville and Zoe Stark attacking Lyra Valkyria and getting her the victory. But then Damage Control comes out, kind of face-like, which is odd because they're heels, and they just
I was like, their faces now.
No, I think they just have that beef with Sonya Deville, Zoe Stark, and Shayna Baszler, so they're just like, we're gonna attack you by any means necessary. Notably missing was Asuka. I think she's but I honestly, I should probably do my homework on that. I don't think she's hurt. I think she's just out kind of chilling for a sec. But yeah, they have Damage Control coming out now, and they're handling business. You have Dakota Kai, you have Kairi Sane, you have Io Sky, and it looks like that's going to be the faction versus faction warfare. There is going to be them six, so I'm excited to see that because it should be fun.
Yeah, it should be fun. It is just confusing. I feel like it is an attempt at a face turn for Damage Control, because they ran down and they saved a face. They didn't beat down everybody. They didn't beat down Lyra Valkyria. So,
last time they did.
Last time they did. This time they didn't, and it was just kind of like I think the crowd was a little like, are these guys? Should we be cheering for them? We don't know.
They're kind of thrown off.
It feels like they're trying to steer it in that direction, because they had the matchup later on in the night between Io Sky and who was it?
Sonya Deville.
Who was it?
It was
Sonya Deville.
Yeah, it was Sonya Deville.
It was Sonya Deville. So like they kind of teased for that later, and they kind of did the face heel dynamic there too. So, but yeah, I mean, it's everybody here is pretty talented, so this one should be fun as it continues.
I agree. After that, we had what I felt was probably the better segment, or the best segment of the night, and it's not because of CM Punk. So CM Punk comes out.
I was like, don't tell me this is your favorite.
No. I'll tell you why right now. So CM Punk comes out, gives a damn good promo. Honestly, gives a really good promo about how he came back and he's trying to he was out on the shelf and he's trying to prove himself, and then he got screwed over by Seth, and kind of went down his usual you're checking all the boxes for a face promo, right? Yeah. And then goes through. And of course, interrupted by Seth Rollins. Now, here's where I start liking the promo even more. Seth Rollins comes out in like a leather getup, like a cowboyish inspired getup. Fans of wrestling in general could see he was calling back to, he was kind of not paying homage, but cosplaying sort of a little bit as Adam Hangman Page from AEW. Yeah. Who also despises and loathes CM Punk. So it was kind of like a mental jab coming out in the Western wear, which was a little jab for those a little nod for those that pay attention across the whole wrestling universe, not just WWE. Yeah. So I thought that was really cool. So of course Seth goes and starts talking his trash, and then he's about to get in the ring, and then they're interrupted by Drew McIntyre, who's in the audience, and CM Punk's ignoring him because now his sights are set on Seth because Seth screwed him over and this and that. And then it's all said and done until Drew shows the bracelet and says, you know, your
Yeah.
stupid dog Larry and your lovely wife AJ. Then Punk gets visibly pissed off, runs out of the ring to go chase after him. Obviously, he's not going to catch him. He has to. I don't care
Yeah, he's
how
too far.
fit you are. You're not going to run up an arena stairs fast enough to catch him. He's gone.
Yeah.
When they do cut to the back, he's already like, hey, Punk. He's Adam Pearce is like, I already kicked him out. Like he's gone. He's not here anymore. Or whatever. So, anywho, back to the ring. Seth Rollins is just there, like left in the ring. Like what the hell? Like I thought we were gonna fight. Like what's up? And he was kind of about to be disappointed. But then here's where it took a great turn. Bronson Reed attacks him and does. I mean, I know it was probably like 6
I think it was
tsunamis back to
6.
back.
Yeah.
It was like 6, but he just decimated Seth Rollins. Like he destroyed him. He was spitting out blood. You had Jason Jordan make a cameo, Kurt Angle's illegitimate child, apparently.
Yeah.
So you had Jason Jordan come out from backstage. You had a lot of folks come out from backstage trying. Nobody could stop Bronson Reed. And the whole time, again, the skeptic, and not the skeptic, but the smartass in me is like, nobody thought just to pull him out of the ring. Like,
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
pull him out.
Just save Seth. That's all.
Stop trying to stop Bronson because you're not. Just pull Seth out. That's all you have to do. And they're just standing there like, don't do it, Bronson. But anyways, the reason I love
get him out of tsunami distance. That's all you have to do.
Just
get
pull
out
him
of
to the
tsunami
opposite end. Like he's fine. Just pull him to the opposite end. Like it's fine. But no. But honestly, this was done with purpose and with meaning. Bronson Reed didn't say anything because he didn't need to. His frustration with being overlooked and underutilized showed, and he went after one of the top star in the roster and just laid him out clean. And it was at one point the crowd just got quiet because they were just like, oh my god. It was kind of reminding me of the Simpsons, like, stop, he's already dead. But like it was done with purpose because now you just made a star out of Bronson Reed, and automatically with that, I would say 2-3 minutes of footage, he is now in the top or upper ranks of the card. And I think that's overdue, long overdue. Bronson Reed is great. He's even good on the mic. He's not great on the mic, but he's good. And he's a good heel. Like he's very formidable against anybody. And so I really, really like this whole segment because of the way it tied together. You had CM Punk going back after Drew because he can't let it go. Again, talking about how CM Punk doesn't let go of the past. He doesn't move forward. He dwells on stuff, typical CM Punk stuff. And Drew's there to just kind of just rub salt in it still. So Seth's left like, well, what about me? And Bronson comes out and just decimates him. So again, I loved everything about this whole segment.
Yeah, I mean, I loved everything except for CM Punk. And CM Punk was cutting his promo because it was just like, CM Punk did the very by the numbers, like, you get knocked down, I get back up. I love you guys. He did like that whole thing. And CM Punk is great and whatever. I thought everything else about it was really good. It was interesting because you saw the teaser from Bronson Reed before this where he was like, hey, I guess I'm going to have to make things happen on my own because that's what everybody else does. And he told that to Adam Pearce, which he's right. And he went and did it. So that was kind of the prelude to this. The thing that's interesting, so I agree 100% with you, but this does a lot for Bronson Reed. And it does a lot to move him forward and to make him kind of a legitimate threat and kind of put him on that next tier. The other thing that I had heard too, unfortunately, it sounds like Seth Rollins needs more time off because of injuries, and that was part of this, is writing him off of television. And so that's why he took like the 6 tsunamis and was coughing up blood, because now you can write him off again.
Yeah, you say he's at home recovering or whatever.
Yeah, it served both purposes there. For me, it's kind of a bummer where I'm now more worried about Seth Rollins at this point because he had the knee injury, and so he had the extended layoff from that. He's had the back injuries, obviously, previously, and kind of came back and looked like he was going to be all right to move forward. And now they did this intentionally because they're like, no, he needs more time to heal from various injuries, and so we're going to give him some more time out. So that's a little bit of a bummer for me. Hope Seth's doing well.
Yeah.
Hope whatever it is that he's going through, it's not a career shortening thing. And
I mean,
kind of get whatever treatment that he needs.
That's
the only my reservation from that, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I hope not, just because I feel that I hope it's just something minor, right? But I guess they're like, well, we got to take one star out. Let's create another one, and I think this was a good way to do it. But we'll have to see. We'll have to really see what becomes of it long term, just because it's interesting. But after that, we had the New Day versus AOP. Again, they're continuing that feud with the Final Testament, and they were doing okay. And then, of course, it was only a ruse. It was all a ruse so that they can jump New Day again. And
Yeah.
with the save comes Odyssey Jones from NXT.
Odyssey Jones?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he comes out and just. What's amazing though is that he comes out and he just lays out all of the Final Testament.
Yeah,
Like
he
takes
ran
them
wild
all
on
out.
everyone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he had a good spot though where he picked up both Akam and Razor and did
Mm-hmm.
sidewalk slams
That's the
simultaneously.
double sidewalk slams,
Yeah,
right?
that was
'Cause he
actually
got
really
them both
cool.
up. Yeah, I jotted that down as soon as it happened. I was like, man, that was really impressive because they're
Yeah,
big
'cause
boys
Akam
against
and
the
Razor are
sidewalk
not
slam.
small.
You're not taking them up high, but you still got to hold them up at like side
Well,
level and do
he
it.
had one already, and then the other one came in. He hooked the other one while he was still holding. It was impressive.
Yeah,
But who wasn't impressed was Xavier Woods.
Xavier Woods.
Again, though, he
Setting
looked
the
confused through the
table.
whole time. Yeah, and then they went backstage, and you know, of course, Odyssey Jones has a New Day shirt, and Kofi's like, "Yeah, I knew it. I called him up, and I gave him a call." And Xavier was like, "I didn't even know y'all were cool like that." And like, he was very confused. And look, again, it's playing more into what Karrion Kross has been telling Xavier Woods. Like, it's not you're not an equal partner in this. Kofi's the one running the show, and so this is kind of sowing the seeds even more. I like that they're giving it time to like unravel and breathe, right? Yeah. Because now you have this happening, and Xavier Woods has always been about, you know, the New Day, we're brothers. It's me, Kofi, and Big E. And now, in a way, it's like Kofi just found a replacement for Big E and Odyssey Jones, right? We need somebody big and strong to save us, and they calls up Odyssey Jones. I mean, it's a good look for Odyssey Jones. Obviously, he's a very impressive performer, and I liked it. But I think this is just kind of start the beginning of the end, and I hate to say that, but for the New Day. So I'm curious to see what happens as time goes on with this.
Yeah. It was. I mean, it was a good segment, and this one feels like they're building towards Bad Blood also with the New Day breakup and something with Kofi versus Xavier. They had that moment where he was the backstage segment, which they kind of kept it subtle, where he's like, "Hey, I didn't know you guys were cool." Like he wasn't rude, but he was like confused.
Yeah.
And then he immediately went into like dancing with Tozawa, where it was like, "Oh no, everyone's cool." And Tozawa and Xavier are kind of dancing together, and it's fine. It was like, "No, it's not fine." So I do like the slow build for this.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it turns into Xavier Woods ever joining the Final Testament. I don't think that'll happen.
No,
I think
but it'll be him with Otis.
I think he might go over to Alpha Academy because I guess they're now Alpha Academy.
Yeah.
And Alpha Academy is now American made. That's what they are basically. So
so that was interesting. But after that, we had A-Town Down Under versus Awesome Truth, which
second
of course
SmackDown group to take over. This is the other thing I'll throw out there too, because I was like, A-Town Down Under, and I'm like, I get why. But this is now twice that we've had a SmackDown stars wrestle.
They had the spat at SummerSlam, and I get it. But the downside to it is that you had the Raw team lose to A-Town Down Under. That was kind of derailing some of the whole dissension between Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, so that was interesting. But it was just miscommunication between The Miz and R-Truth, so that Austin Theory could hit the A-Town Down to win the match. So yeah, it was a short match, nothing too crazy to kind of write home about. Honestly, just done.
Agreed.
After that, we had Damian Priest against JD McDonough, which was. A lot of people were talking that JD messed up because Damian's hitting stiff, and I'm like, no, it's a blood feud now. So he's pissed because his whole family just turned on him and shut him out. So it's going to look a lot stiffer. It's going to look a lot harder. And you know what I did like is that JD McDonough didn't look too easy. I thought it was going to be a squash match, and it wasn't.
I did too. I initially thought it was going to be. It was very competitive.
It was, because JD is a good wrestler. That's what people don't understand is that he really is. He was trained by Finn Balor, for God's sakes. Like, he's a good wrestler, but he just never had an opportunity to show it. And here it kind of shows the new side to him that we're going to see within the Judgment Day, which is good. I'm very happy to see that. I think that's great. But yeah, Damian Priest was just tearing into him. Of course, Judgment Day comes out. He was, I think he even had him beat at one point with a broken arrow, and he didn't take the pin because he just wanted to issue more pain. And right before he was about to finish him, Finn Balor came out from behind. Because what did Finn Balor say in the promo earlier? He says, I'm going to wait till you forget about me.
In the back of your head.
Yeah, and then I'm going to come behind you. And that's exactly what he did. Damian Priest was focused on JD McDonough, and Finn Balor pops up from behind him and, takes him out. And of course, he wins by disqualification, but then the Judgment Day, started beating him down. But then Rhea Ripley came out because even Liv Morgan was getting her licks in, and they were all just stomping him out. And then Rhea Ripley comes out. They flee, and then the Terror Twins to stand tall. So I'm curious to see how this all pans out. We haven't heard from Rhea yet on it all. I think they're going to let that breathe until next week. So it'll be interesting to see. After that, we had, I don't know how you felt about the match. Sorry.
Yeah, quick note on this. This one was probably my match of the night in terms of wrestling. Not in terms of like total package storytelling, sentimental thing. That's the end. But as far as just straight up wrestling goes, I enjoyed this thoroughly, and I thought it was the best wrestled match of the night. And JD looked great. JD also cut a pretty good promo before this.
He did,
because he had a promo where he was talking about how, hey, you never wanted me in the Judgment Day, and I sacrificed my body for you. All true. All of this is true.
All true.
And it kind of played into the whole, hey, JD's not just he's not a punching bag, and he's not just comic relief anymore.
Yeah,
so
he's not a goofball.
Continue with the tone and the tone change of the Judgment Day, which I really liked. Like I thoroughly enjoyed this.
I like that. And you know what's funny is that now they're I love the mental game, the mind games on it, because now they're kind of like make Damian Priest seem like the a-hole.
Because
it's like, he's the face, but he's the jerk. They're like, hold on.
Jerk, but because he totally was. Like you can't
everything
just
was factual.
all that. Yeah.
It was
like,
crazy.
They're not making this up. He was
and
they're
they were
totally
showing
justified
clips.
in how they feel. Yeah.
They're showing clips where JD would push him out of the way and took the spear, and like, you know what I mean? Like, they're showing all that, and it's like, they helped you, bro.
They're not making this up. They really did help you all the time, and you were ungrateful, and you treated them badly, and you said you didn't need them. So
yeah,
what did you expect? You should have seen it coming.
It's crazy. I love it. Yeah, I love it. I love it. After that, we had Io Sky versus Sonya Deville. Of course, Io Sky comes out with the victory. I mean, yeah, there's pretty much Io Sky, because what happened before, it was supposed to be, that's why I got confused. It was supposed to be
Dakota Kai.
Dakota Kai versus Sonya Deville, but they jumped her backstage thinking like, oh yeah, we're good, and then she came out to like kind of claim her victory, which is a very old school thing I hadn't seen done in a while, where the heel comes out and is like, all right, count him out, give me my victory.
Opponent can't make it out, I guess I won. Yeah.
And then Io Sky comes out, and I'm like, yeah, now you're screwed. And so it goes against Io Sky, and it was cool to see. Kairi Sane and Io Sky hit that. They were both standing on the same turnbuckle, but they went opposite directions. Io Sky hit the over the moonsault, and Kairi Sane hit the insane elbow. They both went like opposite ways, which is a really cool visual to see. Both women very talented on the ropes. It's insane. So after that, Io Sky hit the over the moonsault to win the match for Damage Control. So that was it was a quick match, but again, just setting up. Now, okay, I don't think I'll ever have a bad match with Io Sky in it. To be honest with you, like she's
really
too
talented. I was a little underwhelmed when it was going to be Sonya Deville versus Dakota Kai, so that was a good switch for me.
Yeah, it was. After that, we had my match of the night, all around. The Wyatt Six
and my debut. All around match of the night too. All around match of the night.
Yeah. We had the Wyatt Six, which I was waiting for, making their in-ring debut against Chad Gable and the Creed brothers, which now they're called American Made. But I think they're kind of debating that, because even on the website, they're still calling them Chad Gable and the Creed brothers. Maybe they're kind of playing with the name. I hope they change it, because
they're testing it. Yeah.
I feel they could have a better name, because they're both, they're all legitimate, NCAA wrestlers, all that good stuff. So, I think it'd be cool to see. Yeah. I mean, who knows? We'll see. But it was cool to see. Had a little I'm not crying, you're crying moment where they had the intro. They did come out to Shattered, which was awesome. I'm glad they did.
Which I was happy to see.
But what was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful nod was they had the rocking chair by itself out there, and they went and laid the lantern on the rocking chair, which was, of course, a nod to Bray Wyatt and a way to honor him. And I hope they do that every match, because then what ended up happening is Bo comes out, grabs the lantern, kind of just like picking up the mantle, for his brother. And Rowan, of course, pushes the chair behind them as they're making their way to the ring, kind of like he used to do with the Wyatt family. He used to bring the chair, and then right when they got to ringside, he left the chair, and Bo got to Uncle Howdy got to sit in the chair with Sister Abigail next to him. Of course, we know that's Nikki Cross. Nikki Cross sitting next to him, and we had it's weird to see Dexter Lumis like this, like with dreads and stuff. It's a good look for him, It's just I'm so used to seeing him the other way when he was just regular Dexter Lumis. But again, just beautifully done. He comes into the match and he does that weird crawl that he does with his arms, which takes a lot of upper body strength. I don't think people give him credit for that enough. Like, that is very difficult to do. But yeah, he does that little crawl thing, scares the hell out of the Creed brother. I mean, it was Chad Gable who just hops out and tags in one of the Creed brothers. But I like that each member, you had Eric Rowan, Joe Gacy, and Dexter Lumis doing the fighting, and Uncle Howdy watching. I liked that each of them had a little nod to Bray. at some point in the match. You know, even Joe Gacy.
Joe Gacy did when he was in the Tree of Woe, he just hung upside down like the crab walk.
Yeah, kind of mirroring what Bray did.
Mirroring what Bray Wyatt would do. Like there was just little subtle things
throughout
the match that were very cool.
And again, their offense is awesome. Their double team moves are great. I think he had like a side suplex with a neck breaker, which was actually really cool to see. Eric Rowan people were screaming for Rowan to get back in the ring because the crowd hasn't seen him wrestle in a long time. And so when he finally got that tag, it was hot. The crowd blew up and he just ran roughshod through everybody. And again, still doing
he looked really excellent.
He did. He looked really good. Yeah. Then I like that at one point they all hit Uranagi's, which again was a Bray Wyatt move that he would always do. Just little nods that they did like that for him, which was also so good to see. Then after that, you had them hitting like a combined, like a splash. They hit the splash to take the win.
That was like Dexter Lumis. Dexter Lumis went up and did he did the splash, and then like Rowan like put his hands on his back to kind of help him at the bottom end of it to slam him into him, give him like more momentum. Right before that, Rowan did like an excellent. It was like an iron claw choke slam where he caught him like here.
That was his old finisher with the Bludgeon Brothers. Yeah,
that's what I was looking at. I was like, oh, that was interesting. I was like, I know I've seen him do that before, but I was like, it's just interesting for the grip here to be able to grip and hold. Was cool. Rowan looked amazing in this match, and I was concerned because I'm like, he's definitely heavier than he has been. But he moved really well. He looked really good.
He looked great.
The Wyatt Six didn't look perfect. I think Joe Gacy probably needs the most polish out of everybody in this match, but
could also be nerves.
Really good. I mean, yeah, and that's why I'm like they're gonna continue to get better. This was like the big debut. I think there was a ton of pressure. It's Baltimore. That's where the Wyatt family made their original debut. Yep. There was so much on the line for this to look good, and I thought it was excellent. It wasn't perfect. It was not perfect, but it was
it was awesome.
And I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it did what it was supposed to do.
I don't have any complaints.
Yeah, it did what it was supposed to do. It was supposed to show that, I like that it wasn't a squash match. I'm not a big fan of squash matches just because then what do you do with the opponents after, right? Like then what do they have to do? What does Chad have to do after that? Like it's not like Chad is just some chump. Like, and the Creed brothers are no chumps, but they gave them like very good competitive, good wrestling opponents, and they let them, fight competitively, which was good. And so I really enjoyed it, and I'm curious to see where they go from here. I wonder if they go back to promos like Bray used to do, more mind game promos, and then maybe it boils up to like Uncle Howdy versus Chad Gable or something. I don't know. We'll see, because we still haven't seen Uncle Howdy wrestle. We still haven't seen Nikki Cross wrestle, and Nikki Cross has a chance because you have the Creed brothers have Ivy Nile that can wrestle with them, but I think she's still on the fence. Right. She's still on the fence because she's friends with Maxine Dupree, so she's kind of torn. You saw that backstage, but there's lots of opportunity here. I'm very happy with the way it came out. I was smiling the whole match. I absolutely loved it. I know Bray was smiling down too. I thought it was awesome. So great way to end the show.
It was a great tribute to him. Great way to end the show. Absolutely loved it. My match of the night overall as well. I would say I give the edge on just wrestling to JD versus Damian Priest, but this one, as far as wrestling and overall storytelling and emotional impact and all that, hats off. They did great.
Yeah, it was awesome. I loved it. And that was Raw. Lots of wrestling in this one, surprisingly, which I'm very happy to see. We had a few good matches in here. Some good storytelling, some good story furthering, if that's even a thing, but y'all know what I mean. Overall, I give the show an A. I think it's great. I loved it.
Same here. I like me some wrestling on my wrestling shows, so I'll give it an A as well. Which takes us into SmackDown, which was really anti-wrestling this week. It was. 4 matches on SmackDown. It was a light show, but we'll dive in. So it opened with Cody Rhodes. Tulsa, Oklahoma was showing Cody a lot of love. He got a huge pop. Yeah. And then Cody went down to the ring, said he was going to talk about the future, not going to talk about SummerSlam, even though it just happened, and that he's been thinking about his opponent for Bash at Berlin. But before he could say that opponent's name, of course, Solo Sikoa came down and interrupted. Headed to the ring, he's got Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa in tow. Solo didn't care what Cody wanted to talk about. Solo did want to talk about SummerSlam and said that he should have been the champ. They cut the audio because I think Tulsa was chanting something terrible. So the audio cut out a little bit and then cut back, which is just the bad thing about Fox trying to edit things all the time.
I know.
SmackDown will be moving to USA very shortly, though, I think in a couple of weeks. So we'll see if that improves it or not. Basically said in so many words that he should have been the champ and then demanded a rematch. And then in so many words, Cody said no.
Yeah, you don't deserve it.
He's like, you don't deserve it. you're imitation tribal chief and all that good stuff. Oh, and they did confirm on a promo that OTC is original tribal chief, so got the guess right. So it is original tribal chief. As they were about to go beat up Cody for saying no to the rematch, Kevin Owens just popped in out of nowhere. Surprise Kevin Owens slipped into the ring with a couple of chairs, and then everybody dispersed. But as KO was dispersing, Cody was like, "Hey man, I want to talk to you about something real quick," and basically said, "Hey, I want to offer you the match at Bash in Berlin coming up in 3 weeks." And then KO politely declined and also accurately said he didn't deserve it. He hasn't been winning matches and he hasn't earned it, which Kevin Owens, you're absolutely right. You haven't done anything to earn one. And then Cody said, "I don't care. I'm going to go talk to Nick Aldis anyway. Peace." And then left.
Took
and
off.
then that was the opening segment. Just walked off, and they're going to Nick Aldis's office. It's a little anticlimactic start. It was like, okay, little stop start. The swerve to KO which, spoiler alert, later on they made it happen. So it is going to be Kevin Owens versus Kevin Owens versus Cody Rhodes, excuse me, at Bash at Berlin in 3 weeks. It should be a good match. I just don't. Are they trying to do a heel turn for KO? Or are they just going to have them be two faces? That's what I'm kind of wondering here.
I think this segment kind of showed Cody being a little more arrogant and like, I can do what I want here because I'm the champ. Kind of like feeding into like the issues people had with him in AEW. And so I think this may be a way not to turn Cody heel, but to kind of give Kevin KO the face push. And again, KO was like, "Hey man, I haven't done my win-loss record. I'm not that good, so I haven't won. So not that he's not good, but he doesn't have a good record, and that he feels that."
I mean,
and I kind of didn't like the way they goaded him into it. Nick Aldis was like, "Well, I mean, I was just talking to Roman Reigns," and he's like, "Oh, Roman Reigns is going to no, okay, fine, I'll do it." Then. It was kind of like, so
yeah, it was weird and very contrived the way that they did that. Where he's like, "Well, that guy doesn't deserve a rematch," and then I think he was like, "He's been champion for like 1,500 days. What do you mean?" He's like, "Well, I never got an automatic rematch." To which I want to be like, "KO, you never held the title for like 1,500 days. What are you talking about?" Like,
you can't. That's apples to oranges, buddy.
Not apples to apples comparison. And it's like, KO, the fact that you have such a gripe with him getting an automatic rematch is insane, because if there was ever a person that was entitled to one, it's Roman Reigns. Like, that's an easy case to make. And then he was just like, "Well, if you're going to give it to him, then fine, I'll take it." And it was like, and he's like, "Good." And that was it. And it was like, okay, that was an awful roundabout way to get there, but whatever.
But yeah, Jacob Fatu
things.
They did say he's a little banged up, but they didn't say how long he's going to be out. So he was on a boot, I think. After
I think I heard he's wearing a boot like right after the show. People were
hopefully
trying to say,
speedy recovery.
Is that just kayfabe? Was he not really hurt and it was all part of the show? I was like, no, he really banged his shin into the side of the table.
If you look at it carefully, he hit it really bad. That hurt.
Yeah, but and then so next up, our first match of the night was A-Town Down Under. I was like, we got 2 A-Town Down Under matches in one week. My least favorite tag team, and so it was A-Town Down Under versus the Street Profits, and this is a number 1 contenders qualifier match. Again, we're doing another number 1 contenders qualifying tournament
for the tag titles,
and the match was good. It's for the SmackDown tag titles. After the break, they went to a break and came back, and after the break, most of it was shown with the ringside one continuous camera shot for an extended period of time, which I like it as, hey, you kind of throw it in there here and there for creativity and artistry. They held it so long, it made it a little difficult to watch the match because you're not getting a great angle there. So I was kind of like, that took away from a lot of the spots. And then towards the end, they finally cut back to regular camera angles so you could see the action a little bit better. And Montez Ford was great in this one, like he always is. Austin Theory was great in this one, like he always is. Street Profits hit a super blockbuster for the win, essentially. And they advance, It is what it was good. It was solid.
I mean,
sometimes difficult to watch
based
on the camera angles they chose.
Nothing
to write home about.
I saw the matchup and I was like, Street Profits deserve this, so they're going to be in the running for the tag titles. They always are. Yeah. They're a great tag team. They work well together. Yeah. Their offense is always awesome. They're very hyped up. So, and I loved it. I loved the decision to have them move forward. So,
Agreed. And then Tiffany Stratton, we had a brief, she's organizing Queen Naya's celebration for next week on SmackDown. And so she was working on that, had a conversation with Pretty Deadly, and a confrontation with Piper and Green, basically saying, you're not really her friend. And Tiffany said, don't you have a ladder to fall off somewhere? Which was actually made the segment when she said that. And then we got a bunch of flashbacks to SummerSlam. There was a lot of like, here's what happened at SummerSlam, which is why I think we only got 4 matches, because there was just a lot of flashback to SummerSlam. Yeah. Which leads us into the next match, which was Jade Cargill versus Alba Fire. And this was almost halfway through the show. And we're getting our second match. And it was a really short match, too.
Yeah.
It was very short, 5 minutes, 6 minutes maybe. I will say this though, it was very clean. Jade looked good. I mean, I think they've been working with her obviously to kind of build. They protected her a lot by having her tag with Bianca, and they're really working on it. So she didn't have any big botches or anything funny that happened in this one. So she looked pretty solid. She did hit the Jaded for the win. And then you had shenanigans with Blair Davenport jumping in afterwards. And it was like, oh no, the numbers game. And I'm thinking, Bianca Belair and Jade should be able to handle Alba Fire, Isla Dawn, and Blair Davenport. But then Naomi ran down to even the odds, and then Naomi was like the difference maker, which again, Jade and Bianca probably should have been able to handle all three of those on their own, the way that they built them up as like mega monster faces. Yeah. So I'm not sure they needed the help. This one was fine, but it was very brief and just kind of continued the stories they've been doing with Blair Davenport.
I mean, it did what it was supposed to do, right? It's supposed to make Jade look good, give her a singles victory to keep pushing her up that ladder, and then remind everyone that Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair do have a friend in Naomi. So
yeah. It checked the boxes. It was fine. It was good, and it was a solid match for Jade, which is nice to see. LA Knight was out next, who was our new U.S. champion after defeating Logan Paul. He's got a remixed entrance theme, so it was funny because when the theme hit, though, it's basically his old theme, just remixed a little. It's the same thing. But they were like, your ears are not deceiving you. It's a new theme for LA Knight. And I'm like, that sounds really close to the old theme. Like,
I'm like, it's the same thing, just skewed differently.
It's the same theme. It's very, very similar. Like, I have to go back and listen to them both just to see, like, what's the difference here? Like, it's so
I think there's lyrics in this one
now. If he hadn't mentioned it. Yeah, it's small changes, not enough for them. The fact that they had to mention it, it's like, it's not that much of a change. He did get a huge ovation. He got the "You Deserve It" chants. He cut a strong promo about winning the title and being a marked man. Love everything LA Knight does. He certainly does deserve it. Glad to see this. And then he got interrupted by Santos Escobar because there was already going to be Andrade versus Santos Escobar for the number one contender for the U.S. title. That was already set up. So the interruption was more him making his way down to the ring. But he came out and just said, congratulations, but I'm going to beat you. You know, that usual heel shtick stuff that Santos will do, and that he's coming for the title. I was surprised. I thought LA Knight was going to hang out ringside for this one, since it is
like commentary or something.
Number one title. And hang out on commentary. He didn't. He just left. He went and watched it in the back, which is strange, which led into Andrade versus Santos Escobar for the number one contender for the U.S. title. This one was a great match. I'll say it's my match of the night. I didn't like the ending of it. It was the best wrestled match of the night. Santos Escobar was down there, and he had Legado del Fantasma, so he had the whole crew there. And they kept interfering. And then, of course, you got surprise Baron Corbin and Apollo Crews, who've had issues with Legado over the last month or so. So they came down and basically neutralized Angel and Berto to keep them from interfering, kind of ran them out. You had cool spots. You had the Poison Rana from Santos, and then you had the double moonsault from Andrade. That was really, really good. Then you had Carmelo Hayes come out and cause a distraction. Then you had Elektra Lopez cause another distraction. And during Elektra Lopez's distraction, Santos ran up behind Andrade and got a surprise roll-up and held the tights. So you had this great match that ended with the surprise roll-up and holding of the tights, which is the worst way to end it, which is why I was like, it's my match of the night, but gosh, why do we have to do that? That's just the easiest, cheapest way to end it. And so Santos Escobar, kind of predictably, is the number one contender for the U.S. title.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's going to happen at Bash at Berlin. I'm assuming
it more than likely will. Yeah, it more than likely will, and I'm disappointed with the ending. I saw it coming a mile away when I saw when I saw Berto and Angel, ran off by Baron Corbin, who's now a biker apparently, and and Apollo Crews. I saw that happen, and I was like, yeah, but I already know that. I was like, was it Andrade feuding with? Wasn't he feuding? I froze. Wasn't he?
Andrade,
Carmelo Hayes. Sorry.
Right?
Carmelo Hayes. I don't know why it just left my mind. Sorry about that. But yeah, I'm like, wasn't he feuding with Carmelo Hayes? And as soon as I started thinking that, here comes Carmelo Hayes, and there goes the victory. Yeah. But I don't like the roll up. I don't like. I think it makes it look tacky in the sense that now that Santos is not going to win the title when he faces LA Knight, because he could barely beat Andrade with help from 5 people. So it's going to be, it's a shame because they're both phenomenal luchadores, and they were putting on a great match. Yeah. They were both, movesets were amazing. They were back and forth. It was a good match. I liked it. But then that happened, and I was like, the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, the surprise roll-up.
I know, it reared its ugly head like it always does.
Damn, and we're so clear from it for a long time. It was so clear for me
Yeah.
for a long time. But, oh well, it is what it is.
Oh well, it is what it is. What it is indeed.
But it was
I
my
have
match of the
got a
night.
brief,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Before
match
the
of- match of
before
the
the
night, definitely.
before the shenanigans, it was my match of the.
Yeah, yeah. And then got a brief tribute video to Kevin Sullivan. Kevin
Was
Sullivan
nice.
passed away, which is a nice little video package. I always, it's interesting. Kevin Sullivan obviously had a great career. For me, he's always associated with Chris Benoit's murder or Chris Benoit's death and that whole situation, because there was a lot of crazy rumors that came out at the time about, was Kevin Sullivan responsible for killing Chris Benoit? Was he was he a Satanist for real? And he was trying to steal Benoit's wife, Nancy.
Yeah.
So there was all this. I remember at the time there was all these crazy conspiracy theories that swirled around him, which was not fair to him at all.
It wasn't.
It was pretty wild that
Yeah.
he got tangled up in that, which is why folks don't go out and spread crazy conspiracy theories about somebody,
Yeah.
because he certainly didn't deserve all that, and that wasn't true. But I always kind of associated him with that whole incident because of it was just this massive thing that happened, and it was pretty wild times. But had a phenomenal career. The other thing I always remember about Kevin Sullivan too was Kevin Nash doing the interview with Stone Cold Steve Austin, where he was talking about he was in WCW, and when they knew WCW was in trouble against WWE, it was after the WrestleMania with Mike Tyson. And Kevin Nash tells the story of, he goes, I was walking in the back, because Kevin Sullivan was working for WCW, and he goes, walking in the back, and Kevin goes, hey, you feel that, Nash? Yeah, the water just got a little colder. We ran into an iceberg last night called WrestleMania. The way he tells it is so funny. And I was like, man, he had that line like locked and loaded and ready to go. To share with Kevin Nash. Ready to go. But R.I.P. Kevin Sullivan.
Yeah, a phenomenal heel. I love my heels, and he was awesome. He was great. He was definitely ahead of his time. Everything he did was always great, and everyone he worked with, it showed. So it wasn't just him; it was the fact that he could spread that amongst anybody else that worked with him. So yeah, definitely a legend lost.
Legend lost. And that takes us to the main event. Main event of the night. Strange main event. DIY versus Pretty Deadly.
Which we knew who was going to
For
win.
me, that was kind of an odd choice. We knew who was going to win, clearly. Winner was going to take on the Street Profits in that number one contenders match to determine the number one contender. For all their silliness, Pretty Deadly is actually a pretty strong tag
Oh, they
team.
are. They were NXT Tag Team Champions
I
at
was
one point.
Yeah, I think it gets overshadowed by all the silliness and the Pretty Deadly, the musical, and all that stuff. But they are a good tag team.
Yeah, they are.
And so it was a fun match. I will say that. I enjoyed it thoroughly. To your point, Big D, it's pretty obvious that DIY was going to win this one. They hit the Shatter Machine, and then the meet in the middle for the win. The match felt really short because it was really short, because you knew this wasn't the last segment. So they were kind of like, let's get this done, and there's still 15 minutes left to go. So it felt a little rushed, but it was fine. My match of the night still Andrade versus Santos Escobar.
Yeah,
just
same.
overall, even though the ending was terrible. But this was okay. It was serviceable. DIY moves on.
Yeah, it was all right. I like that they let Pretty Deadly get some good offense in, to remind you that they were once tag team champions in NXT, because they are a good tag team. I mean, I think they're getting the same treatment that Dolph and Fandango got when they were a tag team together. I think that's because then they was it Dolph? Yeah, it was Fandango and Dolph when they did the Fashion Police and all that stuff.
Yeah, the Fashion Police. Yeah.
So I mean, they got but again, two great wrestlers. They're just letting them do comedy shticks. So I mean, again, Pretty Deadly is actually a really good tag team. So yeah, it was a good match.
Well, I always thought the Fashion Police was entertaining too. I was
so
bummed
good.
when they moved him out. They were hilarious. They were good wrestlers, but they were hilarious as a team. So I get so many vibes, Fashion Police vibes from Pretty Deadly. It feels like they kind of recycled that gimmick a bit. Which Pretty Deadly's initials are PD, like police department, like Fashion
There you
Police.
go. Let's bring it back.
There's something there. Bring it back.
Bring Dango back.
So the real main event was the final segment. So the final segment, Solo headed down to the ring to wait on Roman Reigns, and then Solo did, of course, the Tulsa, Oklahoma acknowledge me to the chorus of boos. Solo called out Roman, said that he was the tribal chief. Now Roman wanted the necklace thing back. I don't know the name of it. Sorry, you can kill me if you want to. Come get it. And then Roman's music hit to a huge pop. Roman then proceeded to obliterate Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa when they came out up to him, which is good. I'm glad that they didn't keep it competitive, because he just wiped him out, took the steel steps, and just obliterated them with no effort. Roman then went after Solo, hit the Superman punch, going for the spear, and then Tonga Loa grabbed Solo and pulled him out of the ring before he could hit it. Solo did lose the necklace, and Roman went to retrieve it, and he was still in the ring. But then he got jumped by Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa, and then the 3-on-1 assault began. Then Solo just tried to hightail it out of there with the necklace, and then Roman went off on Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa again with Superman punches. He hit his spear. He speared Tama Tonga through the barricade, I believe.
Yeah.
And then Tonga Loa, he just beat to death with a steel chair in the middle of the ring. Over and over and over. It was really a moment of him just absolutely laying waste to both of those guys. No promo, nothing on the mic, just carnage with Roman standing tall. We got the OTC chants raining down already.
Yeah.
It was a great close to the show. It was definitely the best segment on SmackDown for me overall. And it didn't need much. It just needed Roman going out there and looking super strong. And he had moments of vulnerability during the 3-on-1. But, when it was 1-on-1 or 2-on-1, he looked thoroughly dominant. Hasn't spoken a word yet. So it was a good closing segment. It was the real main event for the night for me.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this segment as well because, Roman, he was the tribal chief, and it's called the Ula Fala. Is what it's called. Ula Fala.
Ula Fala. There we go.
Yeah, the necklace thing. So it's I was hoping for, like, when the numbers game started getting too much, I was hoping for Jimmy to return, but I think they're saving that because I know Jimmy's going to come back, but I think they're saving that. But I did really, really enjoy that. It's a story, right? I mean, Roman's pissed because he trusted Solo to kind of help him while he's out, and Solo just kind of took over. It's kind of like a movie, right? Where you have like the king has to like step away, and the prince or you have like the brother step in to like take his throne and take his family, and the king comes
usurper.
back.
Usurper.
Yeah. There you go. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. So it makes sense that Roman is running off of anger and adrenaline. And so, naturally, he's going to take these guys out. And I feel bad for Tonga Loa because people don't give him no slack. He botches so much stuff. Like, they're just like, I saw a still of him trying to hold the title up. But I don't have my title. Yeah. But he's holding like the main part over in the strap, and somebody's like, "Bro, do you suck at everything? Like you can't even hold the title up right?" And I'm like, "Leave the poor man alone."
I'll save you. And
the uppercut to the forehead.
He punches Thomas Tonga in the forehead when he started to hit the low blow with the "I'll save you," and it's too good. But this is also why you don't just rush somebody into like the main event scene and give him.
Maybe it's intentional. I don't know. Maybe that's the plan. I don't know.
I hope not. I don't know.
I'm still happy to have him there. I know he's a good wrestler. I know he has it in him.
Yeah.
I know it's there, but that's poor guy can't catch a break. But anyways, Roman.
Now he got the thumb to the eye. He's got the eye patch, and then he's just getting wrecked with chairs. They're like, all right, we're just going to use you as a punching bag for a little while.
Like we found our follow guy. So Roman just going in and just running roughshod through them was perfect. I think this was great storytelling because again, this is him coming back and like telling him like no, and the fact that they didn't let him finish that spear on Solo again is good because you got to save that. And I don't know if it's going to be at Bash at Berlin, but it'll probably because I think they're going to do a copy paste. Where Solo's going to tell him, no, you got to beat the Gorillas of Destiny first, and then you can come to me. And then when he beats the Gorillas of Destiny, because he will, they're going to be like, okay, now you got to face Jacob Fatu, which is going to be a great match. If you can beat Jacob, then you can face me. Like, I think that's how they're going to, because that's pretty much what Roman did to Cody, and it's I'm good with that. I really am. Like, I'm okay with that. So we'll see what happens. I like the ending. I like Roman standing tall to the chants, and it was a good closing segment.
Yeah. I give the closing segment an A+. I give the show a B because it's very wrestling light.
Four wrestling matches in 2 hours.
4 matches, and then 2 of them were super short. Like the
they were.
Cargill one was like really short.
Like less than 10 minutes.
The main event was really short too because they were trying to make time for all the other video packages and promos and everything. So I mean, I like more wrestling on my wrestling shows, but what was there was strong.
Yeah. I agree.
Well, that's it for this week. Bash at Berlin will be here before we know it in 3 weeks, apparently. Yeah. So
a daytime show.
Lots of stuff happening. Daytime show. I know. I got to check the calendars on that one. Make sure you got the start times right. But that's what we got for this week. So looking forward to. And remember, Monday Night Raw is back on USA. It's not on Sci-Fi this week. I think it's back on USA.
On USA. Yeah, Olympics just finished.
SmackDown will be running on USA in a couple of weeks, is what I remember correctly. I keep seeing the teasers.
Is
for
it?
So they're making that change pretty soon. Yeah, that gets. I think the last one I saw was like 2 weeks or 3 weeks that it's making the switch to USA. So I got to check that out as well. So just as an FYI on that one. So I'll double check, and if I'm wrong, just leave it in the comments. But we appreciate y'all as always. I was like, I saw some teaser on it that it was moving. It's like SmackDown USA in like 3 weeks or something.
No, yeah, you're right. September 13th.
September 13th, yeah. I'm like, so it is coming up in about a month. Yeah, about 4 weeks. So keep that in mind as well. It's going to be making the move to USA soon. So that's all the time we have for today, though. We appreciate the support as always. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see y'all next time on the recap. Have a great rest of your week, y'all.
Bye.